Hi friends, thank you so much for tuning in today. My name's Jessica and I am a fashion lover. I love clothes, just getting in my closet, experimenting and sharing my looks with you. I also love to provide outfit ideas and just help create looks that I might not have thought of before. I do get a lot of inspiration from other fashion bloggers and also Pinterest. I think that's a great place where we can all go for fashion ideas and just looking for ways to take what's in our closet and look at it in a little bit of a different way and find different ways to pair it and create new outfits. So thanks so much again for watching, and let's get into today's video. So this video is part 2 of my 10 by 10 challenge. I decided to do the 10 by 10 challenge. I was drawn to it, curious to whether or not I could accomplish it and how it would make me look at my closet, my wardrobe in a little bit of a different way. So if you haven't watched part 1, I did film a part 1 video that tells the pieces that I chose and just a little bit of a brief summary as to why I decided to do that. I'll link the video. If you haven't watched that one, you're definitely going to want to take a look at that video before watching this one. This challenge was tough for me, friends. I have a pretty big closet with a lot of items and a lot of different options, all of which I wear. I do purge regularly, and I try to be mindful that when I am adding new things that I am also getting rid of some items. I'm incorporating a one in, one out rule. So whenever I bring one new item in, if I bring in a new blouse or a new pair of pants, either a pair of pants or a blouse, whichever the item is that I'm incorporating, one current item has to go. And that's helped me a lot to maintain and not have too much and not to bring in more than what I have room for. Some things that I learned throughout this challenge about my closet, myself. I don't think a 10 by 10 is for me. I did break down in my other video that part 1, I didn't include shoes in my 10 by 10. I know some people do. I wanted to have the options and the flexibility to create and do the challenge in a way that I felt I knew I could achieve, and that would still give me a little bit of freedom in my closet. So I love shoes, and being able to mix and match and add different shoes to the looks was a huge contributor to make it a little bit more pleasurable for me, but it was rough. I can tell you, I learned a lot. There were some pros, some cons. I might be looking off to my notepad here because I have some notes as to the pros and cons that I listed and that I wanted to share with you for this specific project. So the pros were definitely less time thinking about what I was going to wear, less decision fatigue. If you're one of those people who hates spending time in your closet in the morning and does not like or enjoy putting outfits together and doesn't want to spend a lot of time doing that, a 10 by 10 would probably be for you. Some other things I learned, definitely price per wear. You're going to step up your price per wear on your items. I don't tend to spend a lot of money on my items. I wait for good sales. Not that my items aren't good quality, but I just don't spend a lot of money per item. I am not a designer type person. I don't need the highest, most expensive priced items. So, if you're gonna splurge on items, a 10 by 10 is definitely a way to make sure that you're getting more out of the money that you're spending, because you're just going to be re-wearing those same items over and over. Another pro was it helped me declutter. As I chose the items for this project, I cannot believe I was really interested to see how I gravitated towards more items than others. There was one top, for instance, that I picked. It was a cream kind of flowy baby doll top with puff sleeves. I only wore it one time. I just didn't really, I wasn't into it for some reason. I liked it. I wore it the one time. And that was another thing I learned, was I tend to do that a lot. And this definitely made me think about my purchases in a new way, where that was probably the top tip I took away from this, was when I am purchasing items from this point forward, would I put it in a 10 by 10? Do I love this item enough that I would put it in a 10 by 10 wardrobe and wear it 3 or 4 times over the next week and a half? That was my biggest and best takeaway. And that for me is worth its weight in gold. I will look at every purchase that I make from this point forward in a whole new light. And I think it's really going to help me slim down my purchases. And also it's going to help me to make a decision as to whether or not, oh, do I like this enough to wear it once or twice, or do I really love this item? That makes a huge difference too. And I don't want to be bringing items into my wardrobe that's just going to take up real estate and then not be reworn. So I think that is a huge tip for sure. And piggybacking off of that thought, it also helped me to declutter. There was a top, the black top that I wore in the very first outfit. I could not stand this top. It's so pretty. I've worn it, I think, once or twice before, and I wore it to work the very first day of the challenge, and the shoulders, it's just a little bit too big. I bought it when I was just a little bit heavier weight, and I had on a few more pounds, and it's too big. And all day long, it just fell off my shoulder, and I was tugging on it and pulling it up, and it drove me absolutely nuts. So I thought, well, definitely not a top for work. So I reevaluated on my drive home. I kind of pulled it down to my shoulders a little bit and thought, well, maybe I can just keep it as like a date night top and just wear it out, and it'll kind of be like a little sexy date night top that I can just wear, not at work, but just wear on the weekends and out on dates and to events and things like that. Well, after I pulled it down on my shoulders, then it just kind of wanted to just slide off my body. And so I finally just came to the realization, this is not going to work. I cannot wear this top again, and I cannot definitely wear it twice for the rest of this challenge. So I swapped in another black top that was as similar and as close to, I wanted to, where I was making an adjustment to the 10 by 10, I wanted to make it as close to the original item that I had picked as possible, so that I wasn't really messing up the thought process that went into when I picked all of the items. So I did add a different black top in, wore that another couple of times, love it, it's super comfortable. And so that was another thing that I learned, was just learning how to declutter and know whether or not I really love something, or if it was one of those things that sadly I bought it, wore it one time, and then got rid of it, which is a real bummer. I'm really striving to not do that. I don't want to do that. The other item that was really tough was the light colored pants. I chose a really light colored, stone colored dress pant. And y'all, I spill. I'm so messy. I sit in stuff. I get stuff on my rear end. I spill. Every time that I wore those bottoms, I picked them and I wore them twice. I probably would have worn them one more time, but I had to wash them every time I wore them, which was another thing I learned. You're definitely, if you're going to do a 10 by 10, you're going to be doing laundry more often. I probably only have to wash my work items. I separate all of my clothes out, and I only wear work items and wash them about once a month. So it definitely added to my laundry. In fact, there was a day of my 10 by 10, I believe it was day 7, it was on Sunday, where I just stayed in my comfy loungy jammies all day, and I had to rewash all of my items so that they would be fresh and ready to go for the upcoming week. So more laundry, and it did help me to learn things that maybe I like to wear, but not as often, just because of all of the logistics of it just being a more difficult item to wear. It's funny though, because the white top I chose, I wore that, I believe, 3 times as well, and I never spilled on that. But pants, I don't know, just when I'm eating and it's just gonna fall on my lap. It's just a given. As I'm at work eating at my desk, I'm gonna spill something. So that was another thing that I learned. But I do love light colored bottoms. I love whites and ivories and creams in the summertime. It's just something that I love. I love the combination of it. So I won't not wear them, but it's probably something that I wouldn't rewear over and over necessarily, just because of how prone I am to spilling on myself. which I'm sure for most of you, as we are going through this, laundry would be a con, not a pro. So let's jump in to more of the cons that I felt were pertinent to me and just what I learned as cons throughout this process. So the first one I have is more laundry. The second one was I'm just a real emotional, am I feeling it type of dresser, and I wear a lot of different looks. I don't have the style uniform per se because I just love all clothes. I love jumpsuits. I love jeans. Sometimes I love dresses. I love skirts. I love maxi skirts. I love maxi dresses. I just love clothes in general. So I'm not one of those people that just has a specific style formula. And so when I'm getting dressed every day, some days I just feel really neutral and feel like looking like one of the Pinterest photos that I have saved on one of my boards. And some days I feel like color blocking. And some days I feel like, oh, I just need to wear flats today. I'm going to have a really busy day at work and I'm going to be back and forth a lot. And there's just a lot that goes into when I get up every day, how I feel and how by that feeling, I choose what I'm going to wear. So the 10 by 10 was rough that way because you just have the set number of items. And if you're really feeling electric blue that day and you don't have anything in your 10 by 10, then it kind of took the wind out of my sails, which leads me to my next point. That's another reason why I didn't film a video last week. I didn't upload a video last weekend. I just didn't love it. I have to be honest. I didn't love the 10 by 10. I did learn a lot from it. I'm glad I did it, but I probably will not do it again. But I will implement and use the things that I learned going forward. And I did learn a lot from it. So it all is not lost. It was a great learning experience. I learned a lot about my closet, about myself. The other thing, I should have added a dress. I was so bummed that I did not incorporate either a dress or a skirt when I chose my items. So as much as I love dresses and skirts, they're way more comfortable to me most of the time than pants or slacks or jeans. So I do really wish I would have added a dress, and that was a huge regret. So if I were ever to do a 10 by 10 again, definitely adding a dress or a skirt for sure. And then the last thing I have written here is just, I was talking to my daughter about it as I'd be getting dressed in the morning and I'd say, I just look down at the rest of my closet, even just upstairs, and what I have hung up here in the master bedroom closet. And I would just say, look at all these clothes that just want to be worn and they can't be. So for someone that has a closet the size of mine, a 10 by 10 was a good experience. And I am glad I did it, but I will not do it again. I felt so sad when I would get dressed some mornings. And it kind of happened more and more as the days went on. The first few days were fine, but as I really realized that this was what I was going to have to choose from for the next 10 days, I really, really struggled with getting dressed and making myself get ready in the morning. It did make me kind of go back to a con or to a pro. Sorry to jump back and forth here, but it did make me utilize hair, makeup, accessories in my closet a lot more than I normally do. There was one day I added a scarf as a belt, just using different fun handbags as a pop of color and shoes. So it did make me get into my accessories and dig a little bit deeper into those, which was fun because I do have quite a few different bags, belts, shoes, scarves, headbands, hats, things like that. So that was a lot of fun. That was one pro that was really fun for me during this challenge. So I did enjoy that. But will I do it again? Definitely not. And just listening to my tips and things that I learned, things that I liked and disliked may help you decide whether or not it's something that you might want to try or do. And I give mad props to people who use a 10 by 10 on the daily. I could see myself doing a capsule. I do think that that would be beneficial, and I've done that once before. I quite liked it. So I could see myself taking out of this experience, not doing the 10 by 10 again, but definitely giving a capsule wardrobe a try. If you're still tuned in, thanks so much for watching my tips and pros and cons and the little synopsis of what I learned throughout this 10 by 10 challenge. Let's go ahead and take a look at the outfits that I created over those 10 days with the items that I chose. There were quite a few more outfit combinations that I could have put together had I continued and gone further than the 10 days, but I loved each outfit that I put together. There definitely, like I said, were items that I gravitated to more than others. Loved the gingham pants, loved the white top, the black moto jacket, and my blazer. There were just definitely some items that I struggled to style and did not have as great of a desire to wear, but I learned a lot. I'm super happy I did it. Thank you so very much for watching today. Thanks for tuning in, and thank you for supporting my channel. If you liked this video, please don't forget to give me a like down below and subscribe. I am always looking to grow my channel, and if you know someone who would be interested in this content, please give it a share with them. Thank you again for being here. Have a great day, and until next time, bye-bye, friends.